Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Together, a social club for seniors. And this Dementia Friendly Fort Worth program, it is being recorded and will be made available for viewing through our YouTube channel and other media channels. And we are proud to offer this series with funding in part through grants from AeroCares by Lockheed Martin employees and also from Hesta Stewart Christian Trust. And I am Heather White, your host for today's activity, and it is my honor to introduce you to Peggy Spear, and she's going to be leading us in Artful Moments. She's associated with Amon Carter Museum. And without any further ado, let's get together with Peggy. It's all you, girl. It's all you.
Love. All right. Well, hello, friends. I'm a familiar face.
Yep. Hello.
And Steve, I'm an extremely familiar face. You just saw me moments ago. But Phil and Paulette, we are doing what we normally do at the 10:30 spot, where we are looking each time at artworks surrounding a theme. And the theme this time is winter sports in honor of the Olympics.
Oh my word.
So let's get to it. And Steve, I know you know a lot, so contribute when you want or sit back and listen when you feel, whatever. But we're first going to look at this Courier Knives print. What jumps out at you when you first see it?
Oh my word. Lots of people skating.
Lots of people skating.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it feels pretty chaotic, huh?
Yeah, it does.
All right, so as you can see in the title, it's Central Park. So we are in New York City, and we have got all sorts of things happening. We've got young, we've got old, we've got couples, we've got friends, we've got all sorts of things going on. What is jumping out to you first?
That is a lot of people on the ice at one time.
Yeah.
It looks a little dangerous, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
We've got a dog.
That was what jumped out at me. I'm a dog lover, and I saw the four-legged creature first.
And the dog's on the ice. That doesn't make sense.
There for a good time.
Dogs usually like dirt.
This is a snow-loving dog.
Whatever.
Yeah, we've got.
It's interesting that lady in the right front with the red skirt on is like in a seated sleigh.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and that's kind of the only one we see like that, at least in this initial foreground.
Yeah.
We've got, we were talking a lot about in the last group about their skates. Some look like they're strapped on. Some look like they might actually be boots.
Yeah.
Do you remember skating? Did you own your own skates, or did you have skates you'd strap on?
I did have ice skates. I grew up in Lubbock, and I wasn't in a city that had ice skating places really.
Would you find a good pond? Would it ever get cold enough that you could find a good pond to skate on?
I didn't go out searching because I wasn't that interested, I guess.
Yeah. I get it.
Phil grew up in Chicago.
I was going to say, Phil, aren't you a Chicago guy? I'm sure you had your share of skating.
Yeah.
I ice skated when I was a kid, and the thing I remember about it most is I got, we didn't have a lot of means in our family.
Yep.
So I got hand-me-down stuff, and the first pair of skates I had about, 2 inches of newspaper stuffed in the toe.
Oh, my word.
Were they from a big brother that handed them down to you, or a big sister?
I came from a family with 5 kids. I have 3 brothers.
Yep.
And 2 of them were older than I am, and
then 1 sister.
I definitely got hand-me-downs.
So they broke them in well for you.
Yeah.
They broke them in for you, Philip.
Yeah.
And Phil, would you go out skating with your fur? Is that normally how you and your brothers would roll to the pond? Big old fur muffs and coats?
Well, we live near one of Chicago's big parks,
Mhm.
and they would flood the park and make
Oh,
just
yeah.
a giant ice skating rink out there on that park, and we would go and we'd skate and we'd play hockey and do about anything we could, and we were ready for the cold weather up there.
What,
Yeah.
what age were you?
Oh, I don't know.
10 or 12?
I was in grammar school or
Grammar
elementary
school. Oh, my word.
when we started that.
Yeah, this is
I
a
was out
pretty
there cold all
chaotic.
the time. I was delivering morning newspapers in Chicago from the time I was 10. And
Yeah.
so it didn't matter what the weather was. We'd go out and deliver the papers, which is
It was a
why
job.
it made me kind of laugh. This past little cold front that came in. The snow was too deep for my newspaper carrier to get my paper to my door. And I was saying, man, that would not have flown for me when I was in Chicago.
Or the post office. The post office didn't deliver mail either.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. So much for that, and sleet, snow, ice, whatever,
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Dakota.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
Cold country.
Whole
So
country
you're
had a
familiar with
lot of,
living your life no matter what the weather was like anyhow, right?
that's right. Yeah. So had a lot of ice skating things. We were like you, Phil, we didn't have a lot of natural ponds, but they would flood the parks. Of course, since hockey was big, they had a hockey rink, and then they'd flood the other part with just for pleasure, what we call pleasure skating.
Mhm.
And it was wonderful.
Those
Is
were
it-
the days, huh?
Yeah, because you didn't have to have freezers or anything else to get the ice frozen up there. You just put water on the ground and it flooded, and it froze.
How long did it stay frozen?
Oh,
3 months?
Probably, well, okay. We'd have probably sometime around in November, it'd
Yeah.
start,
Really?
and probably up until
January, February?
first part of March, end of February, first part of March,
What?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
because we had snow in there too, so that most of that time frame.
My word.
Yeah, we were talking in the other group too about this, this probably it froze naturally. This is a pond in Central Park, but there were no Zambonis that era to really, I mean, like some of these grooves, you hit it wrong and you were down,
Yeah.
like this poor man in the back.
Yeah, I remember, if they didn't flood the pond or where we put the ice down, or if you skated on like a little river or
Mhm.
coulee or clong type of thing, it was so rough, had to be careful.
Yeah.
You come into these rough patches and you'd bump over them, and sometimes didn't make it over them. You'd fall down and,
Right.
Did you live in Chicago?
No, he lived in North Dakota.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
It's a little bit cold there, huh?
a little bit. Yeah.
North
Yeah,
Dakota is
that's-
colder than Texas.
I think it was 25 below last week.
Ooh, yuck.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But it's supposed to get up. It's now it's becoming like here because it was back up into I think above zero this week.
Oh,
So it's all varies. It flows. Those ebbs and flows. But yeah.
They have a better power grid than we do.
Yes.
I do not like cold weather.
Ain't that the truth?
I
I'm
will
with you, Paulette.
hot and warm weather.
Amen, Paulette. Amen.
Steve, would you go back to that cold weather?
To visit, not to live, not to live. No. Hell, I don't ever remember.
Chicago. I took her up there one Christmas to meet my family. And one of the events that we had, we were going to the theater at the Schubert Theater downtown. Well, the night we went to the theater, it was 18 below zero actual temperature.
Mhm.
And the wind chill factor, I have no idea what it was. But
Yeah.
we parked in a parking structure and came down and got on the street, turned the corner, and the wind hit us in the face. I thought I was going to lose Paulette right then and there.
Yeah. I remember similar incident. I went to Thanksgiving one year to visit my mother, and it had snowed that year, and I think it was like 15 below. We were going to the theater also,
Oh, my word.
and it was
Yeah.
15 below. Walking through that.
Way too cold, yeah.
But anyway, it's you get used to it. You were used to it as a kid. It didn't bother you as a kid. Never had a problem with power. Power grid is always going. There's never every problem with power up there. Of course, and the houses are so well insulated, it doesn't get real cold in the houses.
Word.
My last assignment in the Air Force before I retired, I was the avionics flight line chief at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like one tree between the flight line at Offutt and the North Pole.
Yeah.
And, I tell people I slept naked in an igloo in Alaska, and I was not as cold there as I was on the flight line at Offutt.
Well, the joke is the North Dakota state tree is the telephone pole. It's the only trees, there are some around some of the rivers and things like that, which aren't that many. The only trees were really shelter belts. They were planted during the dust storm days to keep the dirt in. And everything else was, wide open.
Paulette knows about dust storms.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I went through a lot of dust storms in Lubbock. Yes. And I hated it.
I wonder if the movie A Christmas Story is actually, the part where the kid sticks his tongue to the frozen pole. Mm-hmm. Do people actually dare each other to do that and fall for it?
I've had my fingers stick to a pole.
But your tongue?
Well,
why would anybody do that? Do people?
I wasn't dumb enough to do that. I had a little bit more smarts than that, but there are times you do it. And I know this is it's not how I say it's not really nice, but it gets so cold that if you spit, it would freeze before it hit the ground.
Wow.
Okay. I remember in college, I'd walked to college from home, I guess about 8-9 blocks type of thing. I had a big parka on, full face mask. I get there and all you saw was this block of ice coming off my face mask.
No way.
My breath coming out.
So how many years did you live there?
I lived there until I graduated from the University of North Dakota. So that was what? 22. I was 22, I think, when I finally left.
And where did you go when you left? To Texas?
No. Went to South Dakota. A little bit warmer.
The tropics of South Dakota.
Then I went to Wyoming.
Okay.
Then I went to California.
All right.
And then, let me see if I was there. I went back to North Dakota after that because that's when I got married. And there about a year, and then I came down to Texas the first time.
Really? What brought you to Texas?
School. Go to seminary.
You were in North Korea, Steve?
North Dakota.
Oh.
No, I never went to North Korea. We were in Thailand. For 12 years.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
12 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
My wife was in Nigeria for 2 years before that.
Oh, this is great.
Where in Thailand were you? I was at Karat.
Okay. We lived for the most part in a little village about 100 kilometers east of Bangkok. Okay. And it's called Bangkla in Chachoengsao province. And then the last few years we worked up in North Thailand in Lui province, is right along the Cambodia, Laotian Thai border up in the mountains in that area.
What job did you have?
I was a church planter, starting churches.
Oh, a church planter? Oh,
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
we were missionaries.
What's the denomination?
We're Baptists.
Baptist. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So I covered most of the country. I went to all the country, but most of my work was done in East Thailand. Worked with Thais, Cambodians, Laotians in that area, or Isan, which is northeast. And then worked up in North Thailand, where I worked with Laotians and Thai and Hmong, Yao, Kamuk, Yellow Leaf, just a number of different tribes.
Were you military?
No, we're missionaries.
Missionary.
I was in the church, same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it amazing how much you can develop from one piece of art? It just gets your mind going, and you start thinking about all of the little bitty pieces. I mean, we're learning so much about each other only because of this one piece of art that we start conversing about. This is a beautiful moment.
I love it.
Yeah.
Lots of activity going on.
Ain't that the truth?
Lots of skaters.
So I wonder if the couple in the left front, if they are dancing or if he is chasing her.
Looks like he's chasing.
It looks like a chase. And some hypothesize that this woman is their parent and
Their mom. Yeah.
She's just off on a chase.
And the guys in the middle are just goofing around. See the three guys? I can't, my finger doesn't point. I'm sorry, I'm pointing with my finger. Right where her cursor is, right there. Yeah, they're just goofing around, falling down, racing each other, just having fun.
What the artist deliberately did, or the painter really, I should say, is that your eye follows the scene all the way back because of the use of that yellow. So you kind of hop from one little vignette to the next because of that use of yellow. So you're really, while it's a lot going on, your eyes do stay within the artwork to see what's going on. And just to point out, this artwork was painted in 1862, which was the middle of the Civil War. You would have no idea that this is during wartime based on the happiness, the leisure time that this artist was able to convey. So people really loved this artwork because it was it was a nice break from what was a very sad and stressful moment in the U.S.
Almost an oasis, you would think. It was like a dreaming, Yeah,
and at this time in the country, there were very few activities where both men and women could commingle at the same time, and this was one of them. So this was a happy moment too for families, for couples. So it really was a time out from the sadness of broken homes and things that were happening during the Civil War.
It's interesting to me how he uses the yellow color to take your eye straight down the center all the way to the bridge.
Yeah. And it stays within, because even when you hit the bridge, the arch of the bridge still keeps you within. Your eye doesn't want to keep going up anymore. It stays down. So this is a pretty chaotic scene. Now this is less so. This is probably more the type of Phil and Steve skating that they were used to, where it was probably a pond in a neighborhood, and there were other kids around your age that would come out, and there looks like there's parents over here, but it was more recreational, less of of the social scene to be seen type of event.
Did you ever do any ice skating?
Yes.
You did?
Okay.
Is there just one girl in the picture?
No, there's. Go ahead, Peggy.
I think that we counted 3 in the last group that we could visibly tell. We've got one girl here, and she's wearing pants, which is very different than the elaborate skating wear the last group was wearing. We've got a little girl here, and then this looks to be another. It might be a ponytail. It might be a scarf. We were not.
I think this one little boy standing by the lady, I think, is a girl also.
Over here?
Yeah. It looks like
what
a
I
girl.
was thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the hair coming out almost like bangs in the front.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a girl.
Yeah, that's a girl. The one standing by the lady, and then with the one with the skirt. And possibly the one, I'm not sure if it's a hair coming out or it's just a scarf. As we talked about, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is a scarf based on how other scarves are being depicted. And it could even be her scarf that's blowing past. But yeah, everybody's pretty androgynous. And when you're dressed up in layers like that, I mean, think of like your own children or pictures of kids. Sometimes it's hard to tell who is even who with the hat and the scarf and the mittens and the whole kit and caboodle. They're just puffy kids.
They fall down, they roll over.
Yeah, they just kind of bounce. They just
The
bounce
safety
right up.
feature. Yeah.
Yeah, really. So this particular artist was a woman and was really well known for her lithographic prowess during her time. And she, in this phase of her art making, she was kind of the height of her notoriety. But she lived up in New York and had family in New Jersey and Connecticut. So this is really like a Northeast depiction. But we were kind of saying in the last group, this feels like it could be at a lot of places in the United States, just because of that sense of a pond in your neighborhood. You know, you get the sense of a bunch of houses. This is a neighborhood probably. And that kids just went, you know, like you were saying, Phil, kids would just run out to the park, siblings and friends and cousins, and they would just have themselves a time. So this is a more, this is a tamer depiction of ice skating. And this will probably be the tamest depiction we see of ice skating, as he is not even on ice. So tell me what jumps out at you when you first look at this.
Nothing.
I wonder where all of his friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out here by myself.
It looks like medals or some sort of decoration on his jacket.
Yes. So this was a phenomenon that started in the mid 1800s. They're called cabinet cards, and it's basically, these were the gateway to snapshots. This was a moment, and they're about the size of your cell phone, the picture, and they were on cards that people basically collected cards of their friends, pictures of their friends. And so this was a moment where prior to cabinet cards, people maybe only had their portrait made once or twice. And that it could have been when they were a baby, it could have been right before they died. But getting portraits made of yourself was a once in a lifetime type of event. With the introduction of these cabinet cards, people were finding all sorts of reasons to get their pictures made as a form of entertainment and as a form of sharing themselves with people that matter to them. So initially it started off with celebrities, musicians, theatrical performers, singers, things like that.
Wild Bill.
And what you said?
Wild Bill.
Buffalo Bill, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
And he was actually the early 1900s. So this had been around for a while, but it continued. The longevity of this stayed because it was a really fun and deliberately comical, often meant to be entertaining way to take pictures because it was cheap and easily produced. So people, the problem for the photographer was getting them, once they got in the door, how do they keep coming back? How do we keep that business engaged? So they would do things like create these backdrops, like this skater has here. This was taken in the studio is in St. Paul, Minnesota. So this backdrop is of an ice palace that was famously known during Minnesota and St. Paul's Winterfest. So people would recognize that that's the locale. And then this is someone who wanted people to know he was a skater, and these medals, I don't know if they're military or for performance in the sport, but that was something he wanted to convey about himself, that he has many medals. It's funny, he's not outdoors, he's in the studio, and they carved these swirls into the floor to give it the effect as if he were on ice.
Real.
So this was, they would take these pictures, you would buy them in typically a dozen at a time, so you could give them to the people closest to you. And so the front had the picture with the detail of who the photographer studio was. And then on the back was kind of the advertising moment. And so the photographers would have artists create whatever their logo was with all of the information about their particular studio to kind of drum up business. And so this is a very simple one. Sometimes the backs of these were often more elaborate than the picture itself in terms of the beauty of the art. So this is just something kind of fun. So if you were to take your cabinet card picture, what ridiculous or not scene would you have depicting you that you would share with your friends?
I don't have a clue.
Steve, I'm picturing you in front of like a train situation. Am I picturing something that might be a little accurate?
Yeah. Either that or with standing by a lathe, wood lathe type of thing.
Right.
You know.
What about you guys, Paul and or Phil and Paulette? What would you do?
Paulette would be the Queen of Hearts. that would be her postcard picture.
He only says that because I was crowned Queen of Hearts at one of the things that we attended.
That would be the perfect type. That's like the greatest example of something that was a fun moment and an accolade in your life. You and your town. Yeah, that would be a perfect trading card.
I know.
Yeah.
It was. Mm-hmm.
I can picture myself in one of those camera booths with a boa and some sunglasses laughing.
Martha, that would be a pretty good encapsulation of your personality.
It would, wouldn't it?
I love it. Yeah, so this was the fun of it. And this was when photo manipulation, like the original Photoshop, really started, because there were, the example I gave earlier, but there's millions. There would be, if you were a boxer, there were cabinet cards you can find of the boxer fighting himself. So they were learning how to overlay film and manipulate, or if he were a big hunter, he's holding an insanely large animal head, and that with elongating and things like that. So everyone knew.
The fisherman, the fish is taller than he is.
Yeah, right, taller than he is. And that's exactly the type of things that people were doing. So people knew it was messing with reality. And that was the fun and the humor of it. It was something that had never been done before. So there was the United States just loved this. It started in New York, and then, here we are in St. Paul, Minnesota. So the whole country grabbed hold of this phenomenon. All right, so we're going to leave our skaters, or our figure skaters, I should say, to join our ice hockey skaters. So this is a photograph Laura Gilpin took. She was a Colorado-based, mostly, and then moved down to New Mexico-based artist. And she was commissioned to take pictures of this boarding school for young men ages 12 to 18 in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And so this is a moment at school where a lot of the boys have picked up some ice hockey sticks and are hitting. You can see a puck right here, and are just having a timeout on the ice. So here, and with Laura Gilpin, often it's true, the landscape was just as important as the people in it. And she took a lot of landscape pictures, and she took a lot of portraiture pictures. So here you're really getting, if you know Colorado, this feels like a typical Colorado winter day, where it is not a cloud in the sky, sunnier than all get out. You can see their shadows. Probably cold, but it's not that Chicago cold where it gets you to your bone. And they're just kids being kids.
That's awesome that it's just a recreational sport.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Paulette, did you play any sports?
I did not. I wasn't a sports person.
Hey, not everyone is. I feel you.
I was a singer. I sang in choirs.
Oh, nice. No wonder you have a beautiful singing voice I heard earlier. That makes sense.
Thank you. I enjoy singing.
Good.
So
I didn't.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I never played any winter sports. Mine were summer sports. I played softball and basketball and volleyball. I was never any good at any of them. I enjoyed taking care of people instead of being really competitive. So then I changed to sports medicine and was on the sidelines taking care of the injured players.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I wouldn't have even been in the picture. I would be on the solid ground, on the dirt with a Band-Aid, ready to help.
I love it.
That was good.
Paulette and I have 5 granddaughters, and 2 of them were very involved with sports all through elementary school and high school.
Mhm.
And I would say that we've probably been on every volleyball court in the Metroplex, every softball field for miles around.
Yeah,
It is a commitment.
it is a commitment. Yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter played.
You got scholarship to Texas Wesleyan for softball.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter, of course, when we were in Thailand, the girls learned a lot of the soccer was a big sport. They did play baseball. Girls played baseball there, not softball. Okay. At the international school. But when they were in high school, my youngest daughter played soccer. She was very good. She could have gotten a scholarship to many schools, and she chose not to play soccer
Yeah.
because she didn't want to concentrate on just one sport. She enjoyed a lot of sports.
Oh.
Okay, because if you take a scholarship, that's the only sport you can participate in.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so she decided not to. So she went to University of North Dakota to do aviation. She ended up playing rugby
Oh, how fun.
with them.
I just tell my granddaughters that or tell people about my granddaughters that none of them were really great in the sports that they played,
Yeah.
but they all played basketball, softball,
Uh-huh.
and volleyball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just tell them, I said, they would never, ever go to an office picnic and not be able to fully participate in anything that went on there,
Mhm.
Yeah, like a lifetime sport.
Yeah.
And my daughter that plays soccer was also a swimmer, but she played 1 year on a church basketball team and was voted the worst player in the world because she couldn't play. She never played basketball. She just couldn't play, and it was just,
You wanted to be on the team.
yeah. But, it was a church team, and all the teenagers on there type of thing, but she did very well in swimming and she played soccer and, she enjoyed sports,
Yeah.
but she didn't want to stop at one sport. Wanted to play a lot of them. Yeah.
I grew up in the Northeast and I played field hockey and lacrosse, and that was like those were the big sports for volleyball. And like our seasons are different up there, it feels like, than down here in terms of when certain sports were played. So basketball was always a winter sport, Heather, never a summer sport.
Yeah. Of course, in Thailand, girls normally don't play soccer. That's kind of because she was a foreigner. Okay. The girl sport in Thailand is badminton.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it is not recreational. It is competitive.
Very serious. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They'd actually have indoor badminton arenas
Mm.
in the communities where they'd go and I tried to play one time with some friends badminton, and I just said, nope, no more.
Not for me.
This isn't fun anymore.
They were so competitive, it's unbelievable. So anyway, all right.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just think I need to stop with topping so we can go on and do whatever.
I love your story, Steve. I only have one more photograph though. So skiing, and that's another lifetime sport. So that was one of those things that I wish my parents were more serious skiers, because I lived in Denver for a very long time. And I knew too much to that I could injure myself by the time I was living there. So I never really got into skiing, but here we are in New Mexico. And again, it's Laura Gilpin. So she is focusing a little bit on the landscape just as much as she's focusing on the skiers. And this is, I don't know, it just looks like a fun moment. I don't know if it's like a team running drills or what exactly we're catching, but it also feels like these people know what they're doing, but when it's a busy mountain, there are a lot of people who don't know what they're doing.
What's stuck in my brain now after looking at it, it could be this is the team of, let me think, Brian, those who would be considered lifeguards, okay?
Oh, yeah,
And they're packing the snow down for those who are not good skiers.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like when we were speculating earlier, while their moves are very uniform, nothing else about them looks uniform. Like they're not in matching,
Right.
maybe military or sports team, or like you're saying, ski patrol. Like they all look a little different, but I mean, who knows what they could be doing? And then we were speculating, are they trying to make it around that pin? And it doesn't look like this guy's going to make it around that pin. Who knows? But there definitely feels like a uniformity to whatever their movement is.
I remember as a kid watching a Walt Disney film about a young girl who lived in a village and she had to ski to school every day.
Huh.
It was just kind of fascinating because, that's how they got around the community. She skied every place she went, and a lot of it was downhill. Of course, she did a lot of cross country and, things like that. But it was just kind of, as a kid, it was just fun, fascinating, well, maybe I can do that, type of thing.
Yeah. Strap on your Nordic skis and head to school.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching a lot of the downhill skiing or any of the cross country skiing?
No.
Yeah, I caught a couple of the downhill, the long jump, but I haven't been watching any of the other.
I've tried cross country
last night. It's just, it's crazy what they do. The snowboarders.
Yes.
There were the flips and spins and stuff that they do in the air. It's just amazing,
Yeah, I did watch some of the snowboarding earlier in the week, I guess, or last week.
And then the downhill ski racers, how fast they go. I mean, they're going really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to laugh, and I'm at home like, oh, why did you cut it that way? Like I have any ability to do these super G, whatever, slaloms. Like, here I am critiquing their form. I can't even do a bunny hill.
Yeah, I tried cross country skiing, and that is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is very strenuous.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of muscle to do the cross country. It takes the muscle to do downhill, but cross country takes a lot of muscle, a lot of stamina.
I worked with a woman when I was at the Denver Art Museum who loved Nordic skiing. She had actually fallen out of a ski lift as like in college and just never did downhill skiing again, but she was really good Nordic skier. And when she started having kids, she would wear her kids and Nordic ski. That had to have been the best workout. I can only imagine.
Yeah. Of course, that's kind of my, I say, way back cultural heritage since I'm Norwegian. That's where it all came from.
Well, and her parents were from Norway, so it checked out.
Yeah. Going through all those, that's how you got around,
Mm-hmm. All right, my friends. Well, those are our winter sports. I hope you enjoy watching the rest of your Olympic run. I think we're coming towards the end of it soon.
Thank you so much, Peggy. I enjoyed it.
All good things must come to an end, right?
I know, but I'll see you all next month. I don't know what the theme will be yet, but it will be something good. So
I look forward to it. Yeah.
And I'll see y'all soon. Okay, be good.
Okay, bye, Peggy.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye. Let me give you guys a heads up real quick on what's coming up tomorrow. I I've heard such great things about Peggy and what she shares. That was nice to talk through. That was really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's always fascinating.
Is she? I've never got to even put a face with a name. She's so good and knowledgeable. That's great.
Mhm.
Yep.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, so it was Artful Moments today, and tomorrow we're going to have bingo with Lizzie. She is one of the ladies that we have coming to help us out with bingo from TCU. I know. And she was really sweet, really great last week. So I'm excited to have her join us again tomorrow.
And I won't be with you tomorrow. I've got to go to Oasis up in Louisville.
Okay, well, at least then I'll have an opportunity to win because you beat me every time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, saying everybody will have an opportunity to win in all the bingos. Since I won't be there.
We'll miss you tomorrow, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be back on Friday.
Okay.
Well, goodbye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
Heather.
you,
Have
Heather.
a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.